What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMGGift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMGGift. Enjoy the video. What is happening, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary, and we are here, worst to first. We're going to talk a little, what number are we on? I don't even remember. We are on 40 through 31, because it's taken me forever to get this out. But if you are curious about how I rank these, please go back and watch the beginning of this series, and you will see. But we're going to jump right into it and start with 40, and that is Lake. Now, I hate Lake's leadership, but that didn't even go into account into this video. The reason Lake is here is because he is really no good outside of the Panda faction. You could put him in a burn team, but he hinders a burn team. He only benefits Ember in that burn team, and that is off of his refreshing stream. He removes all burning. He does deal massive damage if you have it up, so he can nuke. But for each, and he removes one buff for each burning stack removed from that enemy. So he is a passive dispeller, which brings him up the list. But outside of the Panda faction, you know, it's kind of hard because he gains an accuracy increase and debuff immunity, which is huge. He recovers 30% of his health. If Ember's on the battlefield, they both gain a damage increase. But he's a selfish kind of character. So he does have a role. You know, he can do a lot of damage with the passive Dispel. So that's why Lake comes in at number 40 for me. 39 is Roxy, and Roxy is probably the most slept on healer in this game. Could be one of the most slept on champions in this game. The more I use Roxy, the more I grow to love her. She does some really good things and has a lot of plug and play viability. One, she's clans, she is the pride. Most people put Renara, so if you need that other healer in any kind of comp, she can do it. Now, her passive, she has this mechanic obviously called Feathers, and she does get more feathers for having Kagi and Boris on the battlefield. But she gains one stack of feathers for 2 turns. Allies with at least 1 stack of feather gain 1 random buff at the end of the turn. And she can put on damage increase, haste, potency increase, critical chance increase, crit damage increase, counterattack, and accuracy. I really like that. What I'd love to see on like a tier 7 for her is maybe putting on debuff immunity or something like that. That would be really cool. Make that feather effect last, or she puts on you know, Kagi and Boris get 3 and everybody else gets 2. Something like that would be really, really cool. But the fact that she just puts out this random buff and none of them can really hurt you. You notice Taunt's not in there, right? She has a really, really good heal on her Sparks of Life. She heals all allies for 400% of her magic damage, and then 20% of magic damage for each stack of feather on Roxy. Equally redistributes all stacks of feathers among allies. Not pride, not clans, allies. So she heals everybody, and then she takes the feathers that are out there and just spreads them, which means people can get that extra buff, which is really cool. And then she has her Shroud of Feathers, and this is where her plug and play viability come in. Now, the targeted ally gains 5 stacks of feathers for 2 turns. If Kagi's an ally, you get 5 more, Boris, but we're not counting that. Each stack of feathers reduces incoming damage by 25%. So you lose your taunt off your defender. Are you going to put him on your weakest character to reduce that incoming damage? A lot of people target Boris or Kagi first, or your healer, so you have that choice to make. If your taunt is up, you put it on your tank, your defender, reduce that incoming damage. Just super viable, and she can do some decent damage on her basic, 240, and then deals 14% of magic damage for each stack of feather. And then she removes 1 stack from herself. So she has tremendous plug and play viability. 39, I think, is a great spot for her. She's slowly creeping up the list, and if you haven't worked on Roxy and you really want another healer, she's really good under a Patriarch Chi lead to benefit that. And she's super plug and play viable, so 39 is Roxy. 38 I'm putting Ambo and Lance, and I was torn between Roxy and Ambo and Lance, but I think Ambo and Lance just bring a little bit more to any sort of composition. Here on their Rich Soup, they gain a 13% damage increase for every regeneration on them. At the end of the turn, Amber and Lance gain 2 stacks of regeneration. An additional stack of Kev and Bob are there, and they're not even in the game yet. And at the start of their turn, if allies have 4 or more stacks of regeneration on them, they gain Oink. So they're great in a regeneration team. They really do some things. The emergency seconds applies an armor increase and tenacity increase. This is level 7 now, but it's to all allies, not half pigs, not clans, all allies. Removes all regeneration stacks from allies and applies shield to equal to 20% of their maximum health for every stack removed. No Oink, they get 90% of their turn meter back, so they can constantly go. They're healing the shield, then they're healing here. Removes 430. He removes all stacks of regeneration from Ambo and Lance, and then he spreads them out. So I really love that. No Oink, they're applying regeneration to all allies for 3 turns. Applies haste to allies with 2 or more stacks of regeneration. Just love it. Love that mechanic, and they're a good healer. And he's putting out an armor decrease on his basic. Fantastic. So Ambo and Lance, they have that plug and play viability because of their kit incorporates allies and the regeneration mechanic plus a mass heal. This is what Singeal could be, is Ambo and Lance, and that is why they're just a touch above Roxy. Roxy does have the armor decrease, but they're doing more than just healing, or not armor decrease, but the damage decrease. But Feathers can be tricky, and it's RNG. We're spreading out regeneration. I really, really like their mechanics, and they play smooth. Good plug and play viability. So 38 is Ambo and Lance. Number 37, Major Shot. And I think this is a really good spot for Major Shot. His leadership sucks, but again, we can't take that into consideration. Now, he has one of the best move kits in the game. AoE on a basic, 60% chance to damage all other targets. I'll take that. Here, he goes into battle mode. This kind of is a little bit tricky, but when using this ability in battle mode, he gets 70% chance to stun. 7, easy, take that up to stun. A mass stun would be amazing. Even maybe not 100%, but you still have that 1 potency tenacity check, so it'd be super cool. But this Flashbang ability here inflicts blindness for 1 turn and heal block for 2. He does bring down. I'd like to see this brought down on a T7, T8. This exact thing repeated, because a 7-turn cooldown is just brutal. Passive ability restores 1 turn to a random ability at the start of a turn. Make this 2 turns or something to 2 random abilities. That would be awesome. Major Shot is just, the only problem with him is just he's so squishy. He's kind of slower, but not as slow as some of the other goblins, so that's not really a concern. Because as you can see, I got him in 2 potencies and a critical chance, and I got him at 216, so he's not super slow. He has super high cooldowns though, so that's what stops him from being higher, and the fact that he's so squishy really does stop him. But one of the best kits in the game to this day still, in my opinion, for a kind of support role. Don't really look for him to do damage, look for him to be that support character, get that stun, get that blind, screw up the other opponent. And I like me some Major Shots, so good spot for him. Staying in the goblins, we have 36 and Arno. Arno is just a tank. He is crazy. Gear 11, runed out. I got him almost 90k health and shield combo. He just is very annoying to get around. He can be used in other teams. I find him to be the... I don't have Hilda up, so he's the tank from my burn team with Lake, and he works out really good. He does have some roles to play in the raids, as his second ability here, the Salvo of Destruction, launches 4 rockets. You don't really care about the damage, but to bring down that shield on the dragon, he's a very good addition. He doesn't play as well under a General Murdoch lead because you're looking for them to put on some sort of debuff on their basic, and he has a 60% chance to gain an accuracy increase. Yeah, you know, so it's not really anything to write home about, but the reason he's there is because he's just so abundantly tanky. There isn't really much to say about Arno. His taunting mechanism is pretty good because he recovers 5% health for each living goblin in the party. So he does thrive better with goblins, but he can be easily played outside because he is so tanky. And his passive ability, this one's kind of weird, but he sacrifices 20% of his current health if there are more than 1 goblin in the party. So if you don't have goblins in the party, he does lose that, his passive ability essentially, but he's still so tanky it doesn't matter. He's so hard to get around. This is a good spot for him at 36, and I absolutely love where he's at. 35 is Bordwin, and Bordwin and Zappy, to me, rival Solius Nightiel for one of the best synergies in the game. But you look at Bordwin by himself, what does he bring? He brings a lot of good stuff. Passive ability increases penetration by 2% for every 1% charged. So you get this guy up to 80% charged, and the next hit is going to 160% more penetration. That's huge for his damage if there's less than 40% at the start of his turn. He restores 25% charge, so he's feeding himself his charge, and the rest has to do with Zappy and Boldair, right? But then you look at his Auger Generator, right? Of course, this is all level 7, but still restores. I got to take that into consideration. Restores 20% charge to Zappy and himself, and an additional 5% charge for each armor decrease on the enemy. If it reaches 100%, Zappy and he receive damage increase in crit chance, so you're just upping his damage even more. But I really love this ability. AoE, only 25% charge, and for every 5% charge consumed inflicts an armor decrease and a damage decrease to a random target for 2 turns. So you can build that up, and you can build it up, and you just do more and more damage. 350 at tier 7 on his basic ability, which I put on there. I have this because he, for every 1% charged consumed, so you're 20, you get a 5% chance to remove 2 debuffs from an enemy. Huge for the dwarves. They need this to strip that taunt. So you're looking at good damage. AoE armor decrease. Looking at restores his own charge, and he's giving himself penetration based on his charge. And if he has less than 40%, he's giving himself 25%. Dispel on his basic. I love this guy. I think paired with Zappy, they are incredible, but I can't judge on that. So that's why he's at 35. He's not like the best groundbreaking character, but he brings a lot. He isn't abundantly squishy. He is on the slower side, but most of the dwarfs are. But 35 is a great spot for Bordwin, and he is someone to watch out for later as this game progresses. 34 is Rantha. And you might be saying, Rantha at 34? And you're not counting leads? I get it, but she brings a lot that can help out, especially in tournaments, in the raids. A lot of times when she drops Battle Poo isn't abundantly tanky at all, but he brings so much to the table because it screws up who you can go after and who you can attack, right? She's calling in Battle Poo to assist on a 280 on a basic. This here is a great move. Takes down all the dragon scales in one move, so she is more playable. You know, you can counter leadership. Her passive ability, she gets more physical and magic armor, which she needs because she is a little bit squishy, but she's just kind of, she's not great anywhere, but she's not bad anywhere. And that's without her leadership. You know, she has places in tournaments. She has places in raids. She has places in battlegrounds. Even not as a lead, you can put her in a different spot and it might screw up who they're going to take in because of the Battle Poo drop. So Rantha and Battle Poo needed to be higher on this list for me. And I think she's fun. She can really mess you up. And anybody who's fought Rantha knows what I'm talking about. You're just about to kill somebody and she drops Battle Poo or gives Battle Poo the taunt. Now you can't use Mordoom's Scythe move. You got to use Mordoom's basic. And then Solius gets a heal off and everybody's full health. You know, so it's things like that that make a difference. And that's why I put her at 34. 33, Goram. And Goram is interesting because he has a lead now. Can't count that. He makes Adam great. Can't count that. What else does he bring? Goram is only this high as an individual character because of his half pig minions he summons. Here, he calls Adam in to assist, but he's 240 on a basic. That's really all you're getting. Right, summons one half pig minion, level 7 ability. I'd like to see him 2. That would be awesome because he's very, very slow because you build him for crit chance, so he's really slow. You make him fast, he does a lot more, but it decreases the value with Adam, but we're not counting that right now. And then here, this move is awesome. Restores 1 turn of a random ability to all allied half-pig minions, and he calls them in to assist, all of them. Really good. And then his half-pigs can come in. Passive ability increases his crit damage, and for 10% for each living half-pig and 5% for each living half-pig minion in the party. So he can summon those, so you got to count that into this equation. But when the half-pigs come in and they can put on daze, and then they can stun, AoE, huge. Absolutely huge. You could build this guy to be fast because this move is only a 3-turn cooldown. So you can repeat it rather quickly. Or you can build him to be the crit machine to help Adam out. So there's tons of way to build this guy. And I actually got to look at his runes because I got to get him way more speed than I got on him right now. So Goram at 33 is fantastic because of he's great against the dragon. He's great in tournaments because he drops those half pigs who can daze and stun. He's kind of a goblin who counters goblins, and it's a fair spot for him. Again, we're sticking with the goblin faction, and Thanisa is here. Thanisa could be higher for me if you could acquire her more. She's farmable through hero chests only. And, you know, this is a character I'd love to see in the Easter events, or the Valentine's Day event, or the Christmas event, whatever those events are. Put her in the store. I hope they give us kind of another way to farm her. And if you haven't used her, which I'm sure a lot of people haven't, she brings so much to the table, and she can do massive amounts of damage. And we're going to start with her basic, because she poisons on her basic for 1 turn. Right? So 3 turns poison. 250. Then her level 7 ability heals the target allies by 1100% of her magic damage. And just wait. Applies debuff immunity for 2 turns, 100% of the magic healed above the maximum split equally between all wounded allies. Just huge, huge heal. Then you have magic damage to an enemy and inflicts 2 stacks of poison for 2 turns. So she's putting 3 turns on her basic, 2 turns here, and then she calls 3 random allies into assist. And if you get that to level 8, it's all allies. Doesn't matter if it's goblins or order, all allies. Huge. But this is what makes it crazy. Increases magic damage by 15% for each living goblin in the party. So her plug and play viability drops there, but if you pair her with goblins, oh man, she can crank damage, and it is painful. So the reason I have her lower is, 1, how you get her. Everybody in this game is more accessible than she is. And 2, you lose that bump in magic damage, which makes you rune her differently. You really would want to up that damage, make sure you're hitting it all in secondary categories. But man, she is good, but I can't put her any higher than 32 for that reason. And to finish off this video at 31, Count Delman. Now, I like Count Delman here, and I might have him a little too high for some people's liking, but Count Delman, he doesn't have a lot of health and shield, but he always seems to be one of the last people alive. And I like how his physical and magic armor are split pretty equally. Here, 70% chance to increase the cooldown of a random ability on his basic is awesome. The Mark of Death, I would really like to see this kind of get reworked, because maybe a tier 8 on this ability, where this ability you can ignore taunt. That would make this ability unbelievable. But if the taunt is down, so you strip it, then you want to put it on their healer. The Mark of Death means that they can go around taunt. They can't go invisible. Really good against, like Kairos of the world, Wonder Luas of the world. Here, he gives a dodge increase for 2 turns, recovers 25% of his turn meter, and then gives all allies a crit damage increase. All allies. Love it. Then here, he gains 500 penetration. So you're getting something. He doesn't have to be paired with anybody. And then everybody else is elves. But you put him by himself. He gets that 500 penetration. It can stop a taunt. It can stop the invisible. Selfless character by giving everybody crit damage increase. Pretty survivable. Can do some things. I like Count Delman at 31. So my YouTube family, there is the worst to first. 40 through 31. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the list so far. Is there anybody you disagree with? With that being said, look for more of these. I'm going to try to get them all out in the next coming week. Going to sit down this weekend and make a ton of videos. So that being said, if you're just finding me for the first time, you're liking what you're seeing, consider hitting that subscribe button. You can always unsubscribe later if you don't like the content. For all my XMG family members out there, I love you. See you in the next one. I'm out.